I've really been enjoying also this Chris Brown story. I'm not gonna lie. This Chris Brown story is fucking fascinating. I'm sure some of you guys are aware of it already. Chris Brown has been arrested here in the UK because of a previous offense on assault he did on somebody in the early 2000s, I think. Oh no, maybe just last year actually, one talk about, or 2023, whenever it was, right? He assaulted somebody here in London. He didn't cooperate with the police in terms of coming in for voluntary questioning. Then I guess a warrant was put out for his arrest. He didn't come back and deal with it before the tour. He then comes over to Europe to do a tour, and then during the European tour he gets arrested. Now, one of the really crazy things about this story that I've just learned, because of Fesify, which is fucking wild, big up Fesify on YouTube, guess what? Allegedly, the Sun is the reason why Chris Brown is arrested now. The reason why Chris Brown got arrested is the Sun. The Sun newspaper contacted the Metropolitan Police. This is something I didn't know happens in fucking media. So I guess to make their own story, they kind of contacted the Metropolitan Police and said, "Hey, this guy, shouldn't this guy be arrested for this thing that happened in 2023?" And then the police went up to Manchester and arrested him. So he wasn't going to be arrested. The police had no idea he was here. Which, because I was thinking myself that maybe there's a system in place. There should be anyway, right? There should be a system in place at the fucking immigration when you come in to the country, when you arrive, where once your passport is scanned, if you have any open warrants or whatever on your thing, it should alert the police, right? Or whatever, to kind of arrest you. But allegedly, according to Fesify anyway, at least, the Sun are the one that contacted the Metropolitan Police, and at that time they had no plans of arresting him. When they did, they then went to arrest him. Absolutely insane. That's a weird twist in the whole story. But with that aside, as much as that's a bit fucked up and shit, it's still Chris Brown's fault, you know? He should have went in voluntarily and just dealt with the issue. He probably would have got away with a warning, or they probably would have given him a court date later on, but he definitely wouldn't have had to cancel his tour, because most likely he'll have to cancel this tour. They haven't said nothing just yet, because I'm sure they're probably trying to sort out the insurance and whatever else they can do. But or maybe there's actually a clause in his contract. Maybe they're smart. They put some sort of clause in a contract that would allow him to not pay any penalties or lose out on money if that happens. But this is kind of shaky, because if I'm not mistaken, I've actually read an article recently. No, it was a story courtesy of TMZ actually. TMZ published a story about Justin Bieber's finances. And it's pretty interesting to kind of just, you know, as a cursory look, because I think the whole hook on it is like, why did Justin Bieber sell his catalog for $200 million? I think he did that maybe a year ago or something, right? He saw his catalog when everyone, you know, a lot of these big artists are selling their music catalogs, and people are confused because, you know, he makes a lot of money off his music anyway as it is. Why would you sell it? Da, 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 da. And TMZ is alleging that Justin Bieber was broke before he sold that catalog, like he needed the money. And they're alleging that the big reason why he needed the money was because of fucked up accounting. Like maybe Scooter Braun, his agent before, was taking a lot of money, but also one of the reasons why he got into debt and he owed a lot of money was because he cancelled his tour, right? He cancelled his tour. When did he cancel it? I think it was that big tour that he cancelled that he said he suffered from dehydration or exhaustion or something. So he cancelled that tour, and he owed whoever the tour person is, I don't know, AEG, whoever the company is, he owed them countless amounts of millions. And that, and then of course Scooter Braun's company swept in and be like, "Hey, we'll sort that out for you." So they absorbed the debt, but then that meant he owed them the debt as well, you know. So this could end up having far-reaching consequences for Chris Brown. It couldn't just be the arrest; it could have a real financial, you know, implication. It could really financially impact him in a big way, because you'd imagine these tours, man. They invest a lot of money into it. So if you're gonna not be around or not be able to fulfill your dates, you're immediately in debt with them and you have to pay that debt off, and he's going to be on the back foot for a while. But let's read the article anyways, courtesy of the Mail Online. It says Chris Brown faces weeks behind bars and his European tour is thrown into chaos as he is remanded in custody over the claim he attacked a music producer in a bottle at a nightclub in London. Chris Brown's upcoming tour has been thrown into chaos after the singer was told he will be spending the next month on remand in Britain. Do you know how insane that is, by the way? Arriving to the UK in a private jet with all your friends and family, about to do a show, about to go on tour in the UK, probably got a bunch of press lined up, he might even jump on Filthy Fellas, he might be on one of these fucking big podcasts out there, he might even, who knows, he might even jumped on Realer Than Most, right? He's going to do a bunch of press, a bunch of media. He's probably going to do Chicken Shop Date and shit. He probably had some other TV show stuff lined up. other appearances, and then suddenly you get snatched up and you're in remand. You're in a fucking jail until the fucking court date comes up. It's absolutely insane. The American star due to begin his breezy bowl XX tour in Europe on June 8th in Amsterdam before playing in Hamburg. Also, he was here quite early. So this had, I wonder if this had nothing to do with the tour then, because he says that he was due to begin it on the June 8th, and we're now what, 17th of May. So he wasn't even here for a tour. I wonder why he was here then, because that's quite a long time to sit around waiting for the tour to start. If it was meant to start on June 8th and he's here May 17th. I wonder what happened. I wonder why he was in Manchester in the first place. Brown, 36, was also scheduled to play 10 dates for his fans in Britain and Ireland from next month, with the first of the dates being June 15th. But these plans are now in doubt after the singer was remanded. Oh yeah, because I think America, that's how American artists do it. Usually American artists, when they visit in the UK or the Europe in general, usually American artists will go to Europe first. They'll go to which makes more sense, like geographically, innit? If you come to America, you stop off here in the UK, do some press, but then you do your first tour date in the most eastern European country possible. So the most eastern possible. Maybe it's like Kazakhstan or something. Maybe it's Azerbaijan. Maybe it's Albania, Central Europe thing. And then you'll move inwards. You move towards the west. So then as you move in towards the east, your last stop before you go home will probably be London. So you go to, like, let's say you do Albania, then you might do Germany, then you do Netherlands, then you do Scandinavia. I think you do parts of fucking Mediterranean, and then you'd come to the UK and do places like Scotland, or Great Britain and shit. And then you come down and do, London before you go home. So I think that's how it usually works. Before it was the other way around. I remember sometimes people would go to UK first and then do Europe. I think people do mainland Europe and then go to UK, then go back home, which is a bit of a brutal schedule. It kind of explains why a lot of American artists don't come to the UK or don't tour, because that's a bit of a brutal schedule. Like, you're leaving, he's in the West Coast, so that flight is at 16 hours, even on a private jet. That's a big thing. 16 hours you're flying over, plus rehearsals. And I think Chris Brown shows are like, they're probably gonna be 2 hours minimum, performance wise, dancing all the time, fucking hanging from cables from the sky and shit. But anyway, he won't be hanging from no cables now, will he? But these plans are now in doubt after the singer is remanded in custody until June 13th. Greater Manchester Police arrested Brown on behalf of the Metropolitan Police after he flew into Manchester Airport. Brown was detained at a 5-star Lowry Hotel in Manchester in the early hours of yesterday and then taken to police custody before being charged last night. By the way, they need to do that. I don't know if they have done that already, but that's another idea. Like, if I was a fucking reality TV executive, one of the ideas I would love to have, which I would never actually do, is to do a fucking reality TV show, documentary style thing about a really busy McDonald's in a metropolitan city. For instance, the one that I was thinking about was the McDonald's at Liverpool Street. Now it's a little bit calm, but back in the day when the McDonald's Liverpool Street didn't have a lot of screens and it was mostly people that you had to deal with in the tills. Now it's different because they got screens. But back when the Liverpool McDonald's didn't have screens and it was all just people on the tills, that place used to be chaos on like a Thursday to a Saturday night. So it'd be great to do a documentary, kind of fly on the wall about how crazy it gets in those type of places. Another thing that would be crazy would be to do a documentary reality TV show style thing about people who work in hotels, especially in central London, like those type of hotels, like where people coming from all over the world and the different type of characters that come in. But I guess the people that are going to be staying there would have a big problem having cameras roaming around the hotel. A lot of staff probably wouldn't want to be on camera, but I think you'd get a lot of interesting stories, a lot of interesting characters. A lot of fucking drama would be occurring on those things. There'd be a lot of things to see, but they're probably not going to ever do that. But that'd be cool if they did happen. Brown was detained at the 5-star Lowry Hotel. He then appeared in the dock at court in the afternoon over the incident, which allegedly happened in Tape nightclub in London's Mayfair in February 2023. The 10-date UK and Irish leg of Chris Brown's tour is scheduled to begin at the Co-op in Manchester on June 15th and conclude at the same venue in July 3rd. So I guess they can't. I guess they're hoping for a miracle in it, because I guess technically he can postpone those other dates and do the other ones. So I guess his team aren't trying to cancel anything just yet, because he could go to court on the 13th, right? What's he meant to go in court? He's meant to arrive in court on the 13th. So maybe he can go to court and get released. And if he gets released, he could just fulfill the dates and then, maybe make up the other ones later. So the possibility he could still make some money back, because everyone's, there's a lot of money on the line with this sort of stuff. They can't just cancel it out of the way. But I was also thinking about London, Mayfair. And anyone that's been out in those type of areas will know this area is like a real kryptonite. It's a real fucking crazy place to go to if you're like a black person in general. They usually treat you terribly. Most places won't even let you in, even if you're wearing all the right things and shit. I remember seeing one particular clip of these girls, these kind of IG baddie kind of UK girls who went out somewhere in Mayfair, and they tried to go to some like Mayfair club, Soho club, whatever. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a group of them and they're all dark skinned girls, and none of them got in. But then a group of light skinned girls came up and they got in. A group of light skinned girls came in, they got in. So those Central London clubs are not even, they don't just discriminate based on gender, because you feel, oh, it's only just boys. Nah, it's not just boys. They discriminate across the board. If you're black, they just don't want you in there. And it's usually really hard to take, because a lot of the bouncers in those places, a lot of the door guys are usually black guys too. Usually uncles, and they're the ones that are usually the worst as well. They're usually the most racist anyway, those type of people. There's a lot of self-hate there going on. They kind of remind me a little bit of the black people that you meet in Berlin, especially in places like Berghain. You meet these black guys in Berlin, Berghain, who are like, you know what I mean, they really give you some dirty looks, because they don't, you know, they don't want you encroaching in their space. They want to be the only cool black guy within their little friend group and shit, which is a bit sad really, because, you know, we're kind of all in this together, but sometimes those things happen. Let's continue. Oh yeah, and then there's this video actually, which is kind of wild. It shows Chris Brown leaving the court, heading over to fucking jail. So Chris Brown's actually in this fucking police car, this fucking meat wagon, I guess. You can't see him obviously because all the windows are boarded up. But could you imagine, like, this is your reality if you're Chris Brown? You're just in this car, just like on the way to a UK prison after you just flew in on a private plane. Fucking nuts.
As I sold the last bag, the round and got locked up.
Let me take off the music, but yeah, you see the car coming out from the underground parking at the court, or the lorry, whatever, where all the prisoners are usually in, heading over to the court. So can you imagine the guys on the wing? Could you imagine the guys on these prison wings, how crazy it's going to be? Like in the UK prisons lately have had some interesting situations going on where people have been released early because of overcrowding. There's been, you know, weird stuff happening, like loads of like UK drill rappers getting locked up and shit for crazy amounts of time and shit. People that scammed, all these type of things. But could you imagine the people in that prison randomly who aren't on social media or don't have a phone, and just randomly see fucking Chris Brown coming on their wing, getting, you know, going through his induction? Could you imagine how insane that is? The amount of people in there probably asking for autographs, asking for selfies, probably making him sing. I wonder how he's going to deal with that. I wonder how Chris Brown's going to deal with people asking him to sing. I wonder if he's going to get into scraps. Because if he gets into a scrap in there, and he gets put on fucking punishment or some shit, or he gets locked up again, he gets more charges added, that's going to be crazy. But I wonder, it'd be interesting to see how he deals with like those type of requests about, you know, you're gonna sing for us, bruv. Like, sing a song for us. Record a video for my sister. I feel like we're gonna see that soon. I feel like we're gonna see a video of Chris Brown recording some video for some goon somewhere in some prison in the UK. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. Obviously, you know, hilarious for us, not so hilarious for him. He's also due to play at Villa Park in Birmingham, Tottenham Hotspur in London. There's also said to be a date in Ireland. After the final date in Manchester, July 3rd, he's due to play in Paris. Following the 3-week break, the tour is then rescheduled to restart in North America on July 30th before concluding Memphis in October 18th. But these plans have now been under threat due to that's a long fucking tour, in it. He's touring all the way from June to July, taking a break, and then restarting in October in North America. God damn it, bro. That is a beast of a fucking tour. That is a beast of a tour. There's probably a lot of money on the line there. A lot of fucking money on the line. Jesus Christos. Fucking hell. Okay, fair play. Then on top of that, his friend is also being charged. It's another story again from the flipping Daily Mail. You know, out here fucking cancelling and ridding people of their careers and shit. A musician friend of Chris Brown has also been charged with grievous bodily harm with intent over the alleged nightclub assault. Dallas rapper and producer Omololu Akinlulu, 38, is set to appear in court over the attack that happened in tape. So I guess he was the other person involved. By the way, that guy he's not really on social, I haven't seen, and he hasn't really been identified. I've never seen a picture of him, but I'm also curious to know what he did. Like, what did this producer, what did this promoter, what this person do at Tape nightclub that would make Chris Brown want to beat him up? Like, because I was saying the other day, like, this kind of proves that Chris Brown has some real anger issues, or he's a real goon. Because to come over to another country and to just get into fights with people in nightclubs, chase them down the like smash them over the head with a bottle, chase them down the street, like that's a bit much. I know we don't have guns and shit here, but we have people here that are like about that life, like, you know. So it's a bit, you're running a risk by just randomly beating up people. You have no idea who they're connected with. Chris Brown's on smoke, man. But I wonder what that guy did. What did that guy do to make Chris Brown snap like that, or to go make him go so crazy? Like, it's one thing smashing somebody over the head with a bottle, right? That's one thing. It's a bit aggressive, but that's one thing. Chasing them down the street and then beating them up again with your friend, rushing them. Like, what did this guy do? Akin Lulu, known as Hoodie Baby or Hood Boss, is a close friend of Chris Brown's, and they have collaborated on tracks including No Such Thing, which released in 2020. Brown's, so I guess she's the muscle. I guess he might be the shooter, right? I guess it's this Chris Brown shooter, Hood Baby. Brown's up and coming tour was already thrown into chaos after the single was told he'd be spending a next month remanded in custody. The No Guidance singer is due to begin his Breezy Bowl XX tour in Europe on June 8th. But these plans are now in doubt after the singer was remanded in custody in June 13th during an appearance of Manchester magistrates. Great Manchester police arrested Brown on behalf of Akin Lulu is said to have first met Brown when they played basketball in New York as a teenager, later reconnecting when he moved to LA. So I guess this is Drake's shooter, I'm assuming, this guy here, right? Dallas rapper, Hood Boss. And I guess he took part. He's reported to have spent 5 years as part of the Entourage writing songs. Akin Lulu is known to write under different personas: Super Hood, Fat Leopard, and Hood Baby. At the time, he was also become close to rapper Lil Wayne. I'm funny, he explained, taken about his famous friend. The Dallas Observer said, I'm very entertaining. A lot of people don't know how to talk and shit. He will appear at Manchester Court today. At Manchester Magistrate Court yesterday, Chris Brown was flanked by 2 security guards in the dock after he walked in shortly wearing a black Nike tracksuit bottoms and black t-shirt. The singer gave his name and confirmed his date of birth. Brown watched intently as briefly details the case against him, which were outlined by prosecutors Hannah Nichols. Mr. Nichols said the alleged victim has stood at the bar. Okay, so this is what happened. Miss Nichols said the alleged victim was stood at the bar of Tape nightclub in February 19, 2023, when the defendant launched an unprovoked attack in which the complaint was struck several times with a bottle. So that guy was just standing there waiting for his fucking espresso martini, and Chris Brown rocked up and just smashed him in the back of the head with a bottle. That doesn't sound likely to me. What happened, man? He must have did something. They must have known each other prior. He must have did something. There's no way you just walk up to somebody, just hit him in the head with a bottle out of the blue. Something happened. They don't want to say what happened, but it probably won't justify what Chris Brown did allegedly, but still, I need to know what happened. Because this sounds insane. He just like walking around bottling guys just out of just forever. The defendant then pursued him to a separate area of the nightclub where the victim was punched, kicked, and repeatedly by him and another, which I'm assuming is that Hood Boss guy. A bail application followed by Brown's barrister, which was denied. District Judge Joanne Hurst told Brown the alleged offence was a matter too serious to be dealt with at her court, so she sent him to London Southwark Court to plea, and the trial's preparation hearing on June 13th at 10 a.m. Jesus Christ. Fucking wild, isn't it? Wild. Man was on a private jet a few hours ago, and now he's in fucking jail. Mad times. Mad times. Mad times.